Hi, I'm MJ Albacete and I'm speaking for Voices of Canton Incorporated. The Voices of Canton take great pride in offering our community their production of Bedrich Smetana's delightful comic opera, The Bartered Bride. So what I thought I would do is tell you a little bit about the story of The Bartered Bride, and then when you see it you'll have a better enjoyment of what the plot is all about. So why is she bartered? What does this opera have to do with the money that is paid for a bride? I've developed a little chart here on the wall to explain the plot, and if you'll follow it along, I think your appreciation of The Bartered Bride will increase. Let's do a little bit on the backstory. The backstory involves a couple by the name of Krushina and Ludmila. This all takes place in a little Bohemian village, and they're farmers. All of these people are farmers. Krushina and Ludmila are having sort of a bad financial time, and they borrow some money from another farmer, a wealthier farmer, Misha, and his wife, Hata. He has a tough time paying back all the money. So a deal is cut that Krushina and Misha make regarding their little daughter, Marenka. And here's the deal. They have a son by the name of VOCI, and they are arranging through Kesal, a marriage broker, to have these two married when they are of proper age. And so this is exactly the backstory, how things are going along. As it turns out, Marenka is now a mature adult. She is in love, but not with VOCI. She's never even met him. She is in love with Yenik, and they have committed themselves to each other. They've promised themselves to each other, but nobody else knows about it. Yenik happens to be a bit of a stranger in the community. Nobody really knows who he is or where he's come from, but love conquers all. It comes time for the wedding, and Marenka simply refuses. She does not want to marry VOCI, and this is a problem because a deal has been cut with Kesal, the marriage broker, involving a lot of money. The problem is, how can they get Yenik out of the picture so she can marry VOCI? Kesal says, have no worry, I know exactly how I can do it. I will meet this guy and I'll cut a deal with him. He approaches Yenik and he says, I can interest you in another girl and I can offer you some money to make a deal. And he says, I'm offering you 100 guldens if you will give up your interest in Marenka. Yenik says, that's not enough. Kesal says, let's raise it to 200 and then to 300 guldens. And finally, Yenik says, okay, that sounds like a good deal. I will abandon my interest in Marenka. When she hears this, she is devastated. How can this man that she loved abandon her for money? Thus, we're dealing with the bartering. But Yenik says, I've got a couple of conditions. If I'm going to give her up, you have to promise that she is going to marry the son of Misha, and that all the debt that Krushina owes to Misha over here is going to be abandoned, and that he'll still get the 300 guldens. Kesal is delighted with that because the deal stands. Well, comes the time for the wedding, and just shortly before, Marenka meets VOCI and realizes he's kind of a dolt, he's just not a very interesting personality, and she tells him, he doesn't know her, she tells him that this Marenka that he's supposed to marry is a very mean, nasty woman, and she will see to it that he is killed before the wedding. He's going to die. He's terrified, doesn't know what to do. And so the marriage procedures start moving forward to the actual wedding. Who shows up as the bridegroom but Yenik? Who is this guy? And it is revealed at this time that Misha, he had a first wife, and between the two of them, they had their first child, who turns out to be Yenik, the very Yenik that we know down here. The second wife did not like this kid and ordered him to leave, to get out of the house, because she had her own son to worry about. And Yenik went off, disappeared for many years, and he is now back, and Marenka has fallen in love with him. So all of the rules of the contract are observed. He says, I am the first son of Misha, and I have prior rights to Marenka as my bride. And so everything seems to be completely all right. Krushina's debt to Misha is washed out, and he's got 300 extra guldens, and he has his bride. But what about VOCI? VOCI is left out here without anything. And it seems that right at the time as the opera approaches the conclusion, there's a circus that has come to town, and it is reported that the man who plays the bear in the circus has gotten drunk and cannot perform. Is there anybody out there willing to take on the task? Well, VOCI is kind of interested in it, and he takes the role of the bear. He loves the circus, and he's so good at it that the acrobat in the circus, a woman by the name of Esmeralda, says, "Why don't you join the circus and run off with us, and you can do this and you will become my husband." And so the opera ends happily, everybody's happy, and it ends on a very fine comic note. And that is how we explain The Bartered Bride.